My name is Dong-Yeon Kim, and I am the PR and IR Director of KORGAD, Korean Retired Generals and Admirals Defending the Nation. I'm going to go over General Shin Won-sik's summary. North Korea's nuclear weapons and the South's nuclear nightmares. North Korea's nuclear possession has now crossed the line of no return, and even the feeble hope for the denuclearization of Pyongyang is fading away. But South Korea has relied only on extended deterrence provided by the alliance, failing to come up with any independent measures against the asymmetric threat. Pyongyang is developing nuclear weapons is to dissolve the ROK-US alliance and to use it as leverage, bringing the US to the negotiation table. Pyongyang wants to terrify the nuclear Seoul into submission and eventually communize the whole peninsula. Denuclearization of the North may be easy if we practice lessons we have taken from the past failures. But politics in Seoul and Washington makes it difficult. Nuclear capability is the quality and quantity of nuclear weapons consisting of nuclear warheads and delivery vehicles. Through 6 nuclear tests, Pyongyang has acquired both fission and fusion bombs. Now it may have up to 60 nuclear warheads with the capabilities to produce 10 nuclear warheads annually. By the 2000s, Pyongyang deployed 1,000-kilometer reachable Scud missiles, 1,300-kilometer reachable Nodong missiles, and Mustan missiles with a range of 3,500 kilometers. In 2017, it successfully launched Hwasong-12, Hwasong-14, and Hwasong-15, which can be a direct threat to the continental US. In 2019, Pyongyang developed and test-launched SLBM Bukgukseong-3, as well as many other high-mobility precision-guided weapons. By all accounts, the North seems to have achieved long-range capability and accuracy while not yet attaining re-entry technology and warhead precision guidance. Responsiveness of the North's missiles seems problematic since most missiles rely on liquid fuel except a couple of solid fuel missiles like Bukgukseong and KN-23 missiles. Pyongyang will continue to switch to solid fuel for future surface-to-surface missiles, while liquid fuel missiles will be resolved or used for a show of force, education, military exercise, exports, etc. In July of 2019, North Korea disclosed the 3,000 tonnage submarine, which seemed to be a re-engineered Gulf-class submarine made by the former Soviet Union. It is likely to be used as the platform for Bukgukseong-3's SLBMs. If North Korea deploys intercontinental SLBMs, it can be a critical threat to the ROK-US alliance. Now, we must accept 3 inconvenient truths about North Korea's nuclear capability and hurry to come up with realistic countermeasures. First, the North will never throw away its nuclear arsenal. Second, the agenda in negotiation over the North's nuclear matters has changed from how to fully denuclearize the North to how to reduce or freeze its nuclear weapons since December 2017, when Kim Jong-un announced completion of nuclear deterrence. Third, therefore, we must come up with a realistic deterrence against nuclear threats. South Korea should deter Pyongyang's nuclear threat through both self-reliant and alliance capabilities. it should also possess capability to deal with the situation even if deterrence fails. Now I'm going to go over the 조갑제's summary. Debates over South Korean bombs for self-defense. The debates of whether or not South Korea go nuclear should start from the relations between the Moon Jae-in administration's ideology and its nuclear policy. In order to understand the central problem of Moon's policy, we should start by calling the Jusapa, which is Kim Il-sung school. Kim Il-sung worshippers will continue to support the North's nuclear bombs simply because nuclearization is dying instruction of their great leader, Kim Il-sung. By signing the Panmunjom Declaration on April 27th of 2018, Moon Jae-in virtually promised full support for Pyongyang's nuclearization. The declaration does not deal with how to be prepared against the North's missile attack, but focuses in fact on how to make Seoul defenseless and vulnerable and how to help North Korea easily take South Korea hostage. The Moon administration has not deployed THAAD in Seoul area, does not conduct nuclear civil defense drills. Instead, it designated the no-fly zone over the area adjacent to Seoul. All these policies are for Kim Jong-un, not for the safety of South Koreans. We have reasons to regard Moon's decision to phase out nuclear power plants on the basis of tweaked statistics as an attempt to destroy the nation's nuclear capability. Moon Jae-in never mentioned the North's nuclear matters in his New Year address, while emphasizing lavish support to North Korea, thus reconfirming his unchanging loyalty to Kim Jong-un. Therefore, talking about nuclearization for self-defense to this government is a comedy. Rather, we should expose the treasonous nature of the Moon government to the public and let people aware of the necessity of South Korean bombs for the purpose of national survival. Moon Jae-in has camouflaged his deeds as the denuclearization of the peninsula, our ethnic unity, peace, reconciliation, etc. Like this, he has served Kim Jong-un's pleasure while sacrificing the safety of South Koreans. The Panmunjom Declaration includes such deceitful wordings like balanced inter-Korean development and shared prosperity, or peace economy. But this is no more than an irrational and deceptive listing of good-sounding words. I sat alone with her under moonshine on a rainy night. This poem may sound nice, but does it make sense? Now I'm going to go over Dr. Kim Tae-woo's summary. Toward Inter-Korean Nuclear Parity and Nuclear Armed Freedom Alliance. Nuclear parity strategy refers to a nuclear deterrence strategy that maintains mutual deterrence and strategic stability through securing mutual nuclear vulnerability. It is based on the logic that if an adversary can harm me, then I should also be able to harm him. The credibility of this strategy was amply proven during the Cold War as the MAD, Mutual Assured Destruction, strategy based on mutual vulnerability played a key role in preventing nuclear war. Now, South Korea needs the nuclear capability for short-term and long-term reasons. Immediate national survival through nuclear parity vis-a-vis North Korea and strategic balance in East Asia. Today, under the increasingly visible neo-Cold War confrontation, the former socialist bloc, China, Russia, and North Korea, all nuclear weapon states, are intensifying military collaboration. Unless their nuclear prowess and Chinese expansionism are counterbalanced properly, the strategic balance in East Asia will tip in favor of the non-democratic powers, thus compelling a grave strategic loss on the part of the U.S. This means that liberal democracies in this region, including the U.S. and its allies, may have to seek a nuclear-armed freedom alliance in the future. This is why South Korea needs to pursue nuclear parity through 5 steps. The first step is to continue to deter the North's nuclear threat through conventional forces. To that end, Lee Myung-bak and Park Geun-hye governments attempted to construct a Korean conventional triad composed of preemptive strike, also known as kill chain, missile defense, also known as KAMD, and massive punishment and retaliation capabilities, which are also known as KMPR. The second step is to foster nuclear potential and infrastructure so that it can produce nuclear bombs in the shortest time possible if it decides to do so. The third step is strengthening the U.S. nuclear umbrella and extended deterrence through various ways. Deployment of the U.S. SSBN in the East Sea. Revision of the Mutual Defense Treaty to include automatic intervention, or to specify nuclear umbrella and extra. The fourth is to redeploy U.S. tactical nuclear weapons on South Korean soil. The final step is to go nuclear with an agreement within the alliance framework to defend the nation from the North's asymmetric WMD threat, or to participate in the nuclear-armed freedom alliance. Given that the Moon Jae-in administration still immersed in the fake peace game with the counterpart in Pyongyang shows no interest in this direction of policy lines, the people of South Korea should wake up and rekindle the spirit of former President Park Chung-hee, who devoted himself to survival and prosperity of the nation. Killing nuclear power plants is a serious disturbance in state affairs. There are different types of nuclear power reactors. The most common types are PWR, pressurized water reactor, and BWR, boiling water reactor. KSNP, Korean Standard Nuclear Power Plants, is PWR, pressurized water reactor, whereas Fukushima and Chernobyl reactors were boiling water reactors. All nuclear power plants have a reactor containment system which prevents the leak of radiation to outside. Put differently, as long as this containment system functions well, no accident will occur and no harm to humanity or nature. Even an airplane crash, missile attack, or earthquake over magnitude 10 cannot destroy the containment dome. It can be destroyed only by the internal hydrogen explosion or the external atomic explosion. Even in case of an accident, Korea standard nuclear power plants and pressurized water reactors do not produce oxygen or hydrogen, making the hydrogen explosion impossible. According to the statistic during the past 60 years, there has been only one incident among some 300 pressurized water reactors in the world, which happened in 1979 at 3 Mile Island plants in the US, but causing no injury or death. Also, neither did it harm the environment nor created cancer. Really, Korea standard nuclear power plants, safe and cost-efficient, takes pride in its top competitiveness in the world. The Moon government's decision not to build Korea standard nuclear power plants anymore must be higher incomprehensible or nuts. If it does so, South Korea's state-of-the-art nuclear energy technologies, together with their infrastructure, will die out. Korean citizens will have to pay more for electricity, and the state-owned energy enterprises will face high deficit and debt. Most of all, energy-poor South Korea will confront serious energy security problems. Thank you. Citizens' resolution calling for nuclear-armed South Korea and withdrawal of the decision to kill the nation's nuclear power industry. Pyongyang's nuclear ambition has already crossed the point of no return. Pyongyang is not likely to agree on a fully verifiable denuclearization. Even if it does agree so, the communist regime will never fail to violate it and continue to pursue a nuclear weapon state status. Currently, North Korea is the world's 9th nuclear weapon state with up to 60 nuclear weapons and capability to produce about 10 nuclear warheads annually. North Korea has put tremendous effort also to develop delivery vehicles, making itself a formidable missile power with the gamut of missiles in hands, including ICBMs and SLBMs. Unfortunately, however, the Moon Jae-in administration has continued reverse driving, such as the ill-timed downsizing of ROK-armed forces, signing in 2018 of the treasonous September 9th inter-Korean military agreement that made South Korea much more vulnerable to North's surprise attack, and the decision to dismantle the nuclear power industry that constitutes the nation's valuable asset not only in economic and environmental aspects, but in security and defense front, thus violating its duties specified in the Constitution. In the areas of foreign affairs, the Moon government still hangs on pro-North Korea and pro-China policy lines, undermining the ROK-US alliance and the ROK-US-Japan security cooperation structure that has provided this nation with the security and prosperity. With this being the case, we at the citizens calling for nuclear-armed South Korea and withdrawal of the decision to kill the nation's nuclear power industry strongly condemn the Moon Jae-in administration for misleading its people with a fake peace and for doing nothing against the North's nuclear threat. So, we urge as follows. First, the Moon government must apologize to the people that it has deceived the people with the scheming words such as denuclearization, blood relations, peace, and extra, and let the nation taken a hostage by the North's nuclear blackmail. If the Moon has done so because it seeks so-called low-level federation unification, then it must confess it to the public and wait for the historical and legal judgment. Second, if Moon Jae-in administration wants to prove itself working for its people, it must come up with the short and long-term security solutions to protect the nations and people from the North's nuclear threat and should make a start immediately for nuclear armament for self-defense. The Moon administration should declare that South Korea will no longer tolerate the inter-Korean nuclear asymmetry and announce that South Korea's pursuit of nuclear weapons belongs to the self-defense right stipulated in the Article 51 of the United Nations Charter. Third, the Moon Jae-in administration must discard immediately the freaky decision to phase out the nation's nuclear power plants. We do not know who initiated the mysterious decision and who or what country are targeted beneficiaries. For South Korea, atomic power has been cheap and clean energy, not emitting greenhouse gases and valuable future potential in terms of national security. Therefore, the decision to shut down nuclear power plants and stop building the Korea standard nuclear power plants is not what a sane government can make. The Moon government should scrap the decision right away and switch to a policy bolstering the nuclear power industry. Fourth, the Moon government should stop the transition of wartime operational control. Three conditions that ROC US agreed are not achievable. The three steps verifying steps, IOC, FOC, and FMC, are no more than a ritual procedures to deceive the people. OPCON, operational control, separation, and thereby decoupling of alliance is what Pyongyang regime coveted for decades. In addition, we, along with all other South Koreans who love the nation, resolve as follows. First, pursuant to the stipulation in the Constitution, the government of the Republic of Korea should protect the nation and its people through both independent and alliance capabilities. We firmly resolve that we will not recognize any government that turns a blind eye to this constitutional obligation as our government, and that we will condemn and throw it away through the power of the people guaranteed by the Constitution. Second, taking note of impossibility of complete denuclearization of North Korea and development of the neo-Cold War international order under which China and Russia connive at or virtually support the Pyongyang's nuclear arming, we confirm and reconfirm that nuclear parity must be the only and best way to safeguard peace and stability from the North's nuclear might. We also take note that someday the U.S. and its Asian allies may need a nuclear-armed freedom alliance in order to check increasingly threatening Chinese expansionism and strategic collaboration with the nuclear-armed allies, Russia and North Korea. Therefore, we confirm that South Korea needs governments that pursues nuclear capabilities to meet all possible circumstances requiring redeployment of the U.S. tactical nukes, independent nuclearization to achieve a nuclear parity on the peninsula, or formation of a nuclear-armed freedom alliance for a regional strategic balance. Any South Korean government refusing this security task will be subject to our condemnation. Third, it was a traitorous decision to stop building Korean standard nuclear power plants, renowned for highest standards, the cheapest price, and 60-year-long life cycle. Particularly, the recent government decision to dismantle Walsung-1 reactor, for which the previous government spent 700 billion won to extend its lifespan for another 20 years, must be a dirty ploy to erase a legacy of former President Park Chung-hee, who initiated the construction of the nation's first heavy water reactor with so many patriotic thoughts and passion. Anyway, we now strongly resolve that we, with the power given by the Constitution, will stop the Moon government if it continues, under some sophistry nobody understands, killing of the nuclear power industry policy. January 17th, 2020. Citizens calling for nuclear-armed South Korea and withdrawal of the decision to kill the nation's nuclear power industry. Thank you.